And you know, they count the ball down, and I'll tell you the truth, it meant absolutely nothing, if that makes sense. It was just like another day. It didn't mean anything to me. I'm like, what the f? It meant nothing. Hi, I'm Larry Lawton, America's biggest jewel thief. Join me as I walk you through my past robberies, how I planned them, executed them, and ultimately got caught. I'm going to show you how we did things in prison, like making a tattoo gun, making wine, making white lightning. It's going to be very educational. These are the untold stories. Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. I got a great video for you today. This video is going to be about things that happened in prison that I know about and I experienced during the New Year's time. Before I get started, please check me out on member programs with YouTube, Patreon. Check out our merch and definitely check out Gangster Redemption. What a crazy ride, and people love the book. We know that. Well, I figured really to get going by telling you some stories about Christmas. Christmas and New Year, because they happened around that time. Christmas is a few days ago, and now we got New Year's coming up. And even before I start this, I want to wish everybody a happy New Year. I really do. I want you to have the best time. I hope your 2020 is behind you. You know, this pandemic, we all hate this fucking shit, so let's get this behind us. Hope you're vaccinated. I know people who say, why should you say that? Well, I do. I do believe in it. I'm not, if you don't get it, you don't get it. I get it. That's whoever's choice is the choice. I'm vaccinated and boosted because I travel and I want to go on planes and I want to go on cruises and I want to do a bunch of that stuff. So I wanted to get to this video, and you know, I was counting. I was in prison for 11 New Year's and Christmases. 1996, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. I got out on August 24th of 2007. I've had guys come up to me and say, Larry, you were in longer than that. I said, no, I was straight. I'm not talking about bullshit time other than that. I'm talking about time, real hard time. He goes, no, you were on paper. You had 3 years of paper. And when you look back at it, paper sucked. You know, the probation people were at my door giving me piss tests. At my gym, I remember at the time I was in great shape. And I had 300 pounds. 300 pounds on a fucking bar. And I'm fucking with a spotter, and a guy comes behind me and says, Lawton, piss test. In the fucking gym. I was at a pro health gym, and this dickhead had to fucking do that shit in front of people and stuff. And, you know, I had to go do it. I had to listen. I had to really do what they wanted to do. I mean, I was so worried about meeting other mobsters or people that I said I wasn't allowed to associate with. Who the fuck is this bullshit? But it's over. I am out. I spent enough years in prison, in the hole, in places. I've been in the hole during New Year's. And, you know, I was thinking just about that. You didn't know exactly when New Year's was. I was in the hole a few times during New Year's. And one time I was in the hole, I had a radio because I wasn't yet sentenced. Now, in prison, when you go to the hole, you did something. You had a fight, you cursed out a guard, you got caught bookmaking, you got caught with wine, you got caught with drugs. Whatever it is, you go to the hole and you're gonna be there. Well, once you go to the hole, you go to what they call ADSEG, which is administrative segregation, because you're not technically convicted of anything yet. You're just being put in the hole. Now, it's funny I'm saying all this because it's like there's really a process that you could win, because you have to go in front of what they call the DHO. Well, the DHO is a fucking rubber stamp of what the fuck the prison wrote in their BPA, in their shot. You get what they call an infraction, they have to write you up, and it's called a shot. Oh, Lawton's getting a shot for this. Like when I got the shot for jacking off. Yeah, jacking off in prison. So I'm in the hole, and before you go see the DHO, which is the disciplinary hearing officer, you're in your cell and you get your full property. And I don't mean your full property, but they pack you up out of your cell and they bring your shit down, and in a couple of days, again, this is not happening immediately, they come and they give you this stuff that you're allowed to have in your cell. Now, before you go to the DHO, you're allowed your radio, you're allowed a little extra stuff for food, stuff of that nature. You're allowed certain hygiene items that you're not allowed when you go to DHO and after you're convicted. Because I always say that because I don't think I've ever, in all my time, and I did a lot of time in the hole, and I did a lot of time, and I helped a lot of people with their issues. I've never seen the DHO side with some dude against the officer that wrote the infraction. You know, officer could write that, you know, Lawton threatened me, and they put you in the hole. I never even might have saw the fucking guy. Never even said, because he said it, wrote it in the thing, they take his word over mine. So I don't even know why they have the bullshit of the DHO, but they do. Anyway, in one time in New Year's Eve, I had a radio. And, you know, a radio is like a save-all. Now, we had these little transistor radios, and I mean these little piece of shit transistor radios. And it was just a nothing transistor little radio, AM, FM. You know, you had your earphones. Now, they did have different sets of earphones you can get. Like the ones they come with, or the crappy ones, or you had earbuds, not wireless, all wired. And, you know, we used to make a speaker out of a styrofoam cup. You know, you take a cup and you hold the opening in the back on a styrofoam cup. You could put your earbud there. Or we used to take the two speakers from headphones that you can open up and put them in there, and it actually works. You actually could hear it. More people could hear it. So if you're in the cell, maybe the cellie wants to hear it, maybe it doesn't, but you have it. Well, you know, you listen to shows all the time, and that's why I used to listen to a show called Art Bell. Art Bell, and then George Norrie took over. It was Coast to Coast with Art Bell. The fucking shit that they did on that show was crazy. Talk about the world ending, Bigfoot, conspiracy shit. Coast to Coast with Art Bell, and it was on like midnight till 4 a.m. in the morning. And Paul Tellini and a couple of us, we were avid listeners. And believe it or not, a lot of people in the prison were. That's the only time you're locked in, you come somewhere, feel safe. And, you know, you and your cellie might listen and fucking hit the bunk when you fucking hear some crazy shit. I told you so shit. And they talk about everything. They'd have authors on. They'd have conspiracy theories on. They'd have Bigfoot people on. The world's ending. That was the great one. People went crazy with Tellini, fucked their heads up. Well, on New Year's, you know, you listen to the show. They had a New Year's Eve show. You know, you have to find them. Now, here's another thing with something. If you were in the hole in a place like Yazoo, Mississippi. Yeah, what the fuck is in Yazoo, Mississippi? Even better, Forest City, Arkansas. Where the fuck is this? You know, you're thinking to yourself, right? Well, it is true because you don't get good radio stations. And, you know, when you knew you went to a tougher like Atlanta had the best radio on the planet because it was in the city. The United States Penitentiary Atlanta is in Atlanta, the city of Atlanta. In fact, it's writing that down from the zoo. So it's really in an area, you know, there's housing and there's radio stations and there's all that kind of stuff, boosters or whatever they do. And I used to, believe it or not, I used to listen to drive home shows on the radio when I was in Atlanta. I wasn't even able to see a car for 2 years. Not see one. Wouldn't know it. Couldn't look at a man driving, doing anything for 2 years when I was in Atlanta. Not even getting on the bus. I get to Atlanta, I'm there for 2 years. Can't see a fucking vehicle. It's not even like they had fences in Atlanta. You could look through the fence and see a car drive around like they have in all other prisons. When they have the two fences, they have roving guards. Well, Atlanta had roving guards. But they had a fucking 40-foot wall. Yeah, 40 foot. 3 feet thick, 20 feet on the ground. You can't see over that wall. You know, you're in that prison, and I would listen to drive home shows because they were real cool. I'd listen to sports there, you know, because they'd man, wow, look at me getting memories of Atlanta. Well, I was in the hole one time in Atlanta, and I had a radio, and you listened to so many different stuff, and you're always channel surfing. You know, the only thing you had to make sure, you always had batteries, because you burn those batteries out. You know, when you're in the hole and you're in prison and you get to the commissary, in fact, I remember not being able to buy batteries when you're in the hole on the commissary list. Because they have a limited commissary list when you're in what they call administration segregation. Well, batteries weren't on the fucking list. because they know you can start fires, and that's how you did start fires. So you'd have it in your property, and I could have the batteries in my property, and they'd give it to you. And now I had batteries for my radio. Guys in prison also, we did was we made battery packs. In other words, you put 2, 3, you get D cells. They even sold D. So you'd get a D cell batteries, and you'd make a tube. You'd put them all together with the wiring, and you needed those battery packs, man, because now your radio can last forever. But you get those little, AA or AAA battery, AA or AAA, forget it. They don't last long at all. I mean, it happened many times. You listening to something, the motherfucking batteries are out. Fuck, I don't got batteries. And if you're in lockdown or you're in the hole, you just can't get up and get them. On the yard, you go to your celly, or you go to another friend. Man, I need a pack of batteries. I need that. Go to a store man. People go, what is store man? A store man is a guy in prison, another inmate, who stocks up on 50 honey buns, 100 honey buns, soups, ramen noodle soup, anything. He'll have anything that's on that commissary, pretty much a good store, and he'll have that in his cell. So when that's in his cell, you can go up to him. Now, a store man works by 2 for $3. Or you buy stamps. You could buy a honey bun. It was for 2 stamps. Now, a honey bun back on the commissary is $0.25. Well, 1 stamp is $0.25 on the yard. He's selling it for 2 stamps. The way it is. That's your juice, your interest. Well, or you could do 2 for $3s. Let's say you got a person like yourself, myself, who had a few bucks in the commissary. You always had it on your account. You just hung. You didn't get to the store. It's not your store day. See, in prison, you can't go to the commissary any day you want. You got 1 day a week, if it's sometimes a week, and you have a certain day, and you have to have your commissary list in by, let's say, Monday, if your store day is Wednesday. Now, you have to put your store list in, and then they fill your orders, so when it's your day, you come up, you wait for your number, or, 52224-004 Lawton, and you go up, and you give them your card. They have it all in a bag. They put it all in the bag. You take your shit out, and you go back to your cell. Well, it's funny because, you run out of shit. You gave somebody something. Man, I fucking need, they used to have a cheese on it, like a shake cheese. Man, I need fucking shake cheese. And you go to store man, he has it. Well, certain items he charged 2 for $3. So you ask for 2 honey buns, you got to give him 3 back. That's the deal. Some items were a straight stamp deal, or some other items were like, you got to get it back and get me this. I'll give you a list. So you'd list up a number. If he's a good store man, he'd say, oh, it's Lawton. All right, keep it up. And then when it's time for store day, he knows your store day. He's going to come and say, Lawton, get me this in the commissary. And it could be a whole bunch of stuff, but it's going to equal the total that you owed him. And it could be sneakers, it could be anything. So whatever it is. So that's a store man. So it always has batteries. Well, during New Year's, it's amazing, man. You're listening, and you get that empty feeling, It's amazing, I've been out of prison now longer than I was in. I'm out 14 years. So it's pretty amazing, and I still get that gut punch when I think of sad things. And I don't know if YouTube does that to me or rehashing. I think YouTube helps me deal with the crap that's been in my head for many years of people getting stabbed, people getting abused, hearing certain screams that just rip your heart out. And they bring back that memory, but it keeps me sharp not to ever make a mistake, not to do something stupid, do all the things that happen to people in prison. So now New Year's to me is exciting, and it's been exciting. I'm not a crazy partier. I call it amateur night. All the amateurs go out on New Year's, They get hammered and they get caught in a DUI. That's not happening to Larry, because Larry's doesn't drink and drive. I drink, but I don't drive. I take an Uber or I have somebody else drive, period. End of story, not happening. I might have 1 drink. I'm a 250-pound guy, so if I had 2, it's not a big deal, because I want to always stay under the limit. In fact, I bought a breathalyzer. So with that, now out is just a different feeling. In prison, when I was listening to the radio, and I remember exactly where I was, because when I was in Atlanta, I had a hat. I used to get, you had your warm wool hats, and you'd take that out of your property. They'd give it to you. They didn't care about that. You'd put them over your head, and I would get them right there, and that's how I would sleep. I would sleep with the hat right down to my eyes. Of course, it stopped the light or anything, the guards shining in on you or your light. I mean, I've been in prison holes where they left the light on 24/7. So that's just fuck you type people. That's just torture. In my opinion, it really is torture. Of course, in some prisons, the light switch is on the outside. So even if you left it on, you want to go to bed, and the guard doesn't come around for 2 hours, what are you gonna do? How does that work? So anyway, I'm in there and I'm listening to the New Year's Eve show, and they count the ball down, and I'll tell you the truth, it meant absolutely nothing, if that makes sense. It was just like another day. It didn't mean anything to me. I'm like, what the fuck? It meant nothing. It's just something that was crazy. And I think about that and I say, wow, I was in there, and dates really don't mean anything. I mean, today, now, you're with the people you want to be with, you hug everybody, you have a few drinks, you start the new year, you do all that kind of stuff. That's important, and it is important to do that. Well, in Coleman, I remember being out of the hole, and we set a party up. And you're thinking, what do you mean a party? Listen, I used to throw parties in prison. I know people think, what are you talking about? Now, they don't let you stay up in prison. Let's fake that. It's not like they will let you stay up for like the World Series Game 7 or maybe all the World Series games or the NBA Finals. They would let you stay up till the end of the game, and then they'd lock you down, which is pretty cool, I gotta say that. Well, they don't let you stay up for New Year's, so you had to have your party before lockdown. Now, some prisons lock you down at 10 p.m., which was Atlanta. Some were 11 p.m. That's the latest I've saw. But the last 2 prisons I was in, they were getting harder and harder, and it was 10 p.m. They'd be locked down at 10 p.m. So whatever you do for a party or for fun or whatever you do, you have to do it during the day. I used to throw Super Bowl parties as well. Well, anyway, for a New Year's party, we all get together and say, let's throw a New Year's party. Fuck. And then, you start thinking New Year's in prison, who's getting out this year? That's a big deal. If you spend 10 years in prison, you're getting out the next year, it's literally around the fucking corner. Because, I look at time so much different than a lot of other people. People say, man, oh, that's so long. I could do 3 months in prison sitting in the fucking toilet. Because when you do that much time, even in the hole, you know how to adjust your brain. So we decide to have a party, and we're in Coleman, and let's have a party, and it's New Year's. And we're gonna have it in the day. We go to one of the TV rooms. We let the people we know we want invited. Who's gonna get sodas? Who's gonna get Doritos? Were big. Make my pizzas. The pizzas I made. So we'd make pizzas. We'd make fucking pasta for eating. It was mostly food, mostly drink. Now we also made wine. Obviously, you make a lot of wine. Do a lot of drugs. Well, we made wine. We had a lot of wine, and we cooked some off for White Lightning. So when you cook it off, you then can put some Coca-Cola or orange juice in there, and you are talking about a fucking get you fucked up shit. I laugh at that. I got, people want me to make it. I'm thinking about it. I don't know what YouTube will talk about it. Man, there's fucking bugs in that shit. The fruit flies and shit. You fucking drank them. Who gives a shit? I laugh about how people are today. Oh, I wouldn't eat that. I would eat that. I fucking, come on, what are we, fucking that fragile? I don't think so. So anyway, we make wine, we get ready, we got food. Now, there's about 10 of us. There were about 10 of us there. And we had a guy named Frankie, we had Meaty and Pinball and a couple outlaws, a couple mobsters, and Talini, and who else the fuck was there? We had a few people. I think Georgie was there, Moderano. There was so many people we had. And everybody contributes and everybody gets it. So we're having, I think New Year, I don't know what date New Year was on, but it was going to be right after chow call. We weren't going to go to chow, because you don't have to go to chow call. They let everybody go, and then everybody's usually out of the TV rooms and all that shit. So we took over one TV room, and we put up a table, like not a table. They had in that prison, you had chairs, so you could put the chairs in there. And then you put we made shit with cardboard that kind of like a table. We did get a table, I remember, because it was back against the back wall. And, guards who know you, they don't give a shit what you're doing. Oh, good, they're going to be quiet. They're going to have their own party. They don't know we got fucking wine out the ass. So what happens? We get busted with, I think it was 10 gallons of wine. Busted 10 gallons of wine. Some fucking gung-ho cop. Because what happens in prison is when the inmates go to chow, they'll say, "Do you want to chow? Do you want to chow?" And they open the doors and they let everybody go. Well, the place is like a mad exorcist, because once you could leave then, you can go to the yard. You go right from the chow hole to the yard for the night, and you got to come back at 8 o'clock or 8:30, whatever the prison time is in that place. Some are on a half hour, some are on the hour. Well, it's funny as shit in this place, because the guards, what they do is they start their shakedown during dinner time, so no one's around. And they go in, they rip you apart, and they look for shit, and they'll take shit. This fucker finds 10 gallons of wine, and the only reason he found it is because we had taken it out of our hiding spot, get ready for the party. But the other fuck forgot something or had to get something at the chow hall. So they find the wine, and what do? The minute they find that wine, they get, whoever's in that cell, whoever's cell that is, they were gone, they call them back to the unit. You hear it over the loudspeaker. Don't think anything of it. Sure enough, we look down, because the TV room was on the second tier. We look down, and they're fucking putting him in handcuffs, and the wine is gone. You want to talk about deflating my New Year? I was ready to get fucked up. We were going to all take wine back to our cell for lockdown, listen to a radio, and fucking see New Year's come. See, if you're on the yard, they used to sell these Timex watches, those little bullshit, I don't even know what they're called anymore. A little plastic Timex watch. I remember they sold them to us for about $90. I get out and they were like $10. I mean, that's just to show you what they do to you. Well, we all had them. A lot of guys had them because you'd walk the track, you want to work out, you do your stuff. Well, when you had a watch and you weren't in the hole, you know when it's New Year's because you got your watch. But there's no fireworks going off, people banging. But people do bang the doors. You'll hear people kinging, bang, bang, screaming, kicking the doors. And then once one person starts the whole thing, it's kind of funny. And it lasts about 5 minutes where everyone says, "Shut the fuck up, go back to fucking bed." But we had no wine. So we had this party, and we just talked about what an idiot he was. I'm not going to mention his fucking name. This motherfucker fucked our whole New Year up. And I'm looking back at that, and I'm laughing because a guy could lose 10 gallons of wine, bullshit wine. I mean, trust me, it's not good. But it like fucking deflated 10 other guys fucking goddamn wine, 10 other guys fucking evening and because we were all gonna, 10 gallons is a lot for 10 guys. It's a gallon a person. Usually you buy it by the quart. A quart will fuck you up. Well, we were gonna all take it back to our cells, get fucked up. You're playing cards with your cellie, now you're drinking, doing drugs. I did my share of everything. And that New Year's was like this. I won't forget that New Year's, and that was New Year's 1999. New Year's of 1999 or 2000. I think it might have been 2000, because right after that I got kicked out of Coleman. But that's what New Year's were memories of for me at prison. They're not good. They're not like, oh, party. The one time we had a party, we had another one another time, but nothing like that planned. That was a party. There goes that fucking party. But it happens. Anyway, I hope your New Year's, nothing like that happens. I hope you don't get arrested. I hope you're being good. I hope you're making good choices. And I really want to wish the best 2022 to everybody on this channel and everybody out there. Please have a great 2022. Let's hope everything in this shit and the pandemic and all the economy and the fucking, let's hope things change. Hope these people in Washington get to work together. We got a lot coming out in 2022. So anyway, guys, have a great day. Please stay safe. Make good choices, and thanks again. Love you guys.